I'm genuinely interested in people, and especially self-aware people. Like it's refreshing to me to be able to talk to somebody who actually pays attention to themselves with some measure of objectivity. That ain't easy to do, and so it ain't common.
I'm interested in why you think I'm self-aware.
Oh, Shanell.
Okay, I mean that was.
Listen,
yeah,
I could be wrong.
You could be.
I could be.
But you could. I mean,
But
what makes you believe that I'm self-aware?
Just it's in your presentation. It's in your presence. It's in your.
I don't notice. So
the way you engage. Yeah.
I like the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are, in my observation, you are intentional, self-confident, and you have a sense of humor.
I am funny.
Which is like, that's a really big one for me.
Funny.
Like people who have a sense of humor, and not like a self-deprecating sense of humor.
Yeah.
Not like a. I like people who have a dark sense of humor, and people who can be not the joke, but can laugh at themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. So that's my assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But we'll see. Sorry. Cheers to.
Say less.
Cheers to you going home and returning home.
Cheers to the first wine podcast.
The inaugural.
The inaugural.
We'll see
I like
how
that.
successful this goes.
It should be interesting.
So when I was like a little kid, now that I look back, I wasn't as keen on this at the time, but now that I look back, I realized that like at early ages, different points of self-discovery of like what my personality type was or what my interests and curiosities were. Like, I know I liked having fun and I liked humor and I liked seeing people around me laugh. Like that's a big deal to me. You know what I mean? And maybe it was like my parents, for the most part, I chalk it up to my parents. You know, when your parents laugh at you, like without ill intent.
Like, oh, I'm making them feel good.
Yeah.
Let me do that
So
again.
it's like, yeah, I want to do that again, right? And you can tell when the laugh is genuine and if it's not genuine. So like, you get enough genuine laughs, you're like, oh, I might have something here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you think back to like your childhood, what are some realizations or observations about how your personality was being developed, like self-consciously as a kid? Like, I can't imagine you were a follower.
So I am the firstborn grandchild to a family of 11. My grandmother had 10 children. She ultimately adopted another, but scores and scores of foster children came through her home. And like that part of taking care of people and community, I get from her for sure. So I was the firstborn. My mother had me at a very young age, at 18.
Okay.
And so the youngest sibling with my mother was 4 years older than me. So we grew up like sisters.
Okay.
And so
your aunt was 4 years
my
older.
aunt was 4 years. So
Okay.
I grew up with all of my aunts and uncles
as
brother and sister because my mother was young.
Okay.
And it was only me for 4 or 5 years. My brother is 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And so from a very young age, you know, I knew that I was sort of special, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I never followed. I was always like, you're going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay, so I say that to say, in that setting with my aunts and uncles, I felt like safe and like, yeah, I can boss people around.
Yeah.
But in the setting with just my mom and that dynamic, I was unsafe.
Okay.
I grew up in a very tumultuous home.
Okay.
And so I was a follower then.
Okay.
I was always waiting for my instructions.
Right.
What do I do? Where do I go? How do I feel? Because I don't want to set her off. And then, you know, she was very abusive to me. So, yeah, I was a leader in one setting where I could be myself, be Shanell. And then in the other setting, I was timid and fearful because I didn't want to make waves.
Right. That's really interesting in that the polarity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you knowing what both sides of the fence, so to speak.
Right.
Like what both terrains
Yeah.
required. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think on the larger side of the family, it was because, so my mother was the oldest too of all of these children.
Okay.
Right. So she was the one doling out all the everything for them. So I think by them, like, letting me be the leader, the boss, so to speak, when I was with them was their way of protecting me because she was their boss too.
Right.
So it was nothing they can do or say to her that would make her stop what she was doing to me.
Right.
They can only nurture me when I was with them.
Yeah.
So that's how that went. They were afraid of her too. Still are to this day. You know?
Yeah. And then how many siblings do you have?
I just have the one younger brother.
Okay.
But I was the oldest, so then a whole line of boys came behind me. So they all became my responsibility, all of the boys. Wow. Yeah, it's very... Yeah. I'm in a very weird space with them. It's like all my aunts and uncles, they're like my siblings. Like, everybody's by first name, but then all my cousins behind me and my brother's like, oh, aunt such and such and uncle such and such. And I'm just like, hey, Laverne, hey, Geneva, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then they're all like looking to me to be their leader, right? You know, I still have a cousin that's 40-something years old. He calls me is it okay if I have Thanksgiving at my house this year? Like, that's your house.
Yeah.
You make the decision.
It reminds me, like, there's, you know, I feel like everybody has the peculiarity of their individual life and the setting of it and all that. And because everybody has a one-of-one life, we're all especially equipped in ways that nobody else is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And
agreed.
Like, we have, you know, peculiar understandings of human behavior because of the dynamics that we experienced.
Well, that's how it should be, right?
Yeah, but like, it's also the reason why we should tap into ourselves more and more of like, what is the way that I see things? Because nobody else is going to see it like the way I'll naturally see it. You know what I mean? Because they don't have these lenses, so to speak. And if you can trust your lenses,
right, because of your experiences, or my lens a little shaded, jaded, skewed,
cracked,
right,
but in some area and some areas, we all have the lens that is like best suited for the moment.
I believe that.
Like depending on what the moment is.
I believe that.
You and I will be in a room somewhere and you'll see things that I just don't see.
I believe that.
You know what I mean?
But again, is it jaded, shaded, skewed?
It could be. Yeah. But it also could be like, it's like night vision goggles. Mm-hmm. When it's nighttime, now when the lights are on, they will fuck your shit up.
Right.
But at night, you'll see what nobody else can see.
I got my superpower.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And like in that scenario, in that environment, you can trust your lens. Mm-hmm. You know? And I don't even know that is like, I don't even see the movement. I don't even see the environment that you would see. And vice versa. Like whatever the scenario, whatever the room is. You know what I mean?
Do you always trust your lens?
I lead with trust.
I
always lead with trust. I'm aware of, I become more and more aware. I'm going to look back at this in 10 years and think I'm such an idiot. But today.
This is today.
Today, I believe that I have a good measure of humility, that I don't look at my lens as absolutely right unless it's like tuning an instrument. It's like when I hear the note and it's the fucking note, you can't tell me it's not a C.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I don't give a fuck what y'all hearing. I hear the note. And you know what I mean? But like if like, you know, in chaos or whatever, or in confusion, or if there's a lot going on, maybe I don't hear it as clearly as I think I do. So I do believe I'm humble enough that I'm like, well, what's your point of view? What do you think? But generally speaking, I'm confident in my discernment. I'm confident in my perspective, and I'm optimistic. So like, I generally think things are gonna work out, whether I'm right or wrong.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's funny because like when I think back to my younger self, you know, teens, 20s, 30s, the confidence, there's confidence, and there's confidence that comes from competence, and they are not the same. And younger me was just confident. You know what I mean?
Innocent.
Yeah, and arrogant.
Yeah, all with innocence,
Yeah.
youthful innocence.
Yeah. But as more and more of life teaches me and humbles me and refines me and confirms me, then my confidence is more from competence. You know what I mean? And then that,
Which can still be misconstrued as arrogance
yeah, for sure.
all the time.
For sure. And I'm also aware that like I have a certain way about me that's just
Same.
the
Yeah,
way I
same.
am. You know what I
Same.
mean? Like I'm aware that I have a terrible Zoom face. Let's start there.
Where did that come
Horrible.
from? What is that? What does that mean? I have a
Meaning
terrible Zoom face.
My facial expressions tend to be intense when I'm thinking and when I'm listening. And it feels, and to the viewer, it looks like
What the
I'm
fuck is wrong with
disagreeing
him?
or I'm upset or, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, I'm really intently,
Like, what did I say?
right,
Send messages in the chat. Like, are you okay?
right. And it's like, no, it's cool. I promise you, I don't feel like whatever I look like. I really don't. And then like the way I talk, you know, if I'm invested in the discussion, I tend to talk rather assertively.
Same.
And it can come off like I'm
Aggression.
aggressive, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'm into this
Yeah.
conversation. I'm into it. I'm not
Using of the hands.
Yeah,
Blah,
it's
blah,
like
blah.
the
Yeah.
eye contact, and
Yeah.
like, and people don't like to be looked at in the eye.
I know.
All of that. It's
What
like
is that about?
I'm just into it. That's all.
Yeah.
You know. So so there's that. Like that part of like how I am can be misinterpreted easily.
But you're very aware. So you're very self-aware
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And I think knowing yourself, right, just in that vein alone, that's being more intentional and genuine than anyone could ever be. Because you know who you are. You know these little quirks about yourself.
Yes.
And so you're looking out for signs from the other person like, okay,
Yeah.
is he or she getting a little offended?
Right.
Is he or she worrying a little about what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, or
Yeah.
how I'm reacting to it?
Yeah.
Is he? So that's very self-aware. Not many people, like I say this all the time, I'm unapologetically who I am. Some people take that as she just don't give a fuck. She gonna say what she wants to say. No, you know, I want to know how I make you feel.
Yeah.
Like I don't want people to just think I'm this asshole. Right. But also, it's still true.
Right.
I'm still who I am.
Yeah.
Unapologetically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, not.
I'm reading this book right now that I love so much. I can't stop talking about it. I've been mentioning it everywhere I go. It's called The Master Key System. It's written by this guy, Charles Shanell. And Charles was one of the people. So when Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich,
Yeah.
he interviewed, I think, 50 people about their mindset and mentality and approach, and then put together this book. Charles was one of those guys. Right? So this book that he wrote is, you know, about essentially mindfulness and a personal development. It will be in the personal development section. The other day I read a passage that mentioned how it talked about fear, and I don't even remember what the passage was, but it caused me to look up fear and what the opposite of fear is, right? Because like, what exactly is the opposite of fear? And it's not just a one-word thing, of course. And the response or the definitions that I got back were like calm, confidence, and indifference.
It's the opposite of fear.
Right. So it's like you can be indifferent. You can be calmly, confidently indifferent. And it comes off as you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm just not afraid of this conversation, or I'm not afraid of offending you, or I'm not afraid of being offended, or I'm actually just not fearful in this moment. I welcome this conversation, but I'm calm.
Yeah.
And I'm not like I'm not preoccupied with doing the dance with you so that you're comfortable every
Right.
step of the way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like that's probably what people are misreading from you is like, no, it's not that you don't give a fuck. You're not afraid right now.
I'm not afraid right
Yeah.
now, right? And it's so interesting that you brought up the word fear specifically. I'm embarking into this self-help, all the things. So I'm going to Tony Robbins' event at Prudential. I think it's next week or something. It's a 3-day event. It's not Think and Grow, because I read that book.
Yeah.
It's Date with Destiny.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to his ebook as I'm on this 2.5 drive back up here today. And he was saying that, people fear fear. But fear is really just a manifestation of all the other things that's going on in your brain, like worry or guilt or, anxiety.
Yeah.
All of that is a manifestation of fear. So how do we get rid of all of those things to get rid of all of the fear?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you used that word. 'Cause I was just listening to that today.
I'm gonna give you a copy of this book. I just ordered. No, actually, I was ordering, and then I was like, no, let me go to Source of Knowledge and get them to order it.
I was about to say
I'll buy it from them.
That's so smart.
It's like, but I'm gonna give you a copy of the book. And it's one of those books that like when I started reading it, I realized like, oh, I'm not gonna waste this read by reading it fast or reading it just to pass through it. Like,
Do the things, highlights, go back and reread, bend the pages, right?
And then, sorry, I'm gonna just indulge me, please.
Yeah, of course.
I started doing this thing where I use ChatGPT. So I'll read a passage, and it's written in a very I think the guy was British, so there's some of that English in the English, actual English, and also like the way the writing is structured is like there's a lot of semicolons, which makes a paragraph of semicolons is difficult for me to like chain link together. But I started using AI, so I'm using ChatGPT. I'll read a passage, and if it's particularly profound to me, or if it's difficult for me to make the connection, I'll read it to ChatGPT, and then ask ChatGPT to unpack it for me in the voice of X comedian, right? Right? So I'm like, yo,
that's clever.
Break this down in Dave Chappelle style.
Give me layman's terms, man.
And it is people that I've grown accustomed to listening to unpack a concept. And a lot of times a dense concept. And they bring it together in such a sophisticated way that not only is it funny, but I can comprehend it with some granularity. You know what I mean? And so with this, it's like, just this morning, I'm reading passage, and it was a passage I was just like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, and you're referencing some other things, and you're speaking English.
Right.
Had it read through it and explain it to me, and it was like, man, in the course of 60 seconds, I went from not understanding it to understanding it. This is
fucking dope.
Right?
I know what you're saying.
Right?
I need it like that.
And I can feel a way about it so that I can actually retain it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is definitely a tool. I'm gonna keep using this tool.
Yeah, so I'm so anti ChatGPT, and now you've just opened up a window for me. Maybe.
You know what?
not all that bad.
Yeah, it's really not. It's a lot to do with how you use it. You know what I mean? It's like,
because I think I'm a wordsmith anyway. I'm like, there's nothing ChatGPT can tell me that I haven't already written, don't know about, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it in that aspect to like help me unpack difficult things that I'm comprehending.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I like to use ChatGPT for literally for expanding my thinking. So like I'll tell ChatGPT about a thing, and then I'll ask it, what else should I be thinking about? Or what questions would help you explain it better to me?
Right.
And like things like that. It's ridiculously brilliant. It's fucking
scary brilliant.
Yeah.
Scary brilliant.
But I'm like, it's the same brilliant as the car was when people were riding horses.
The light bulb.
And the light bulb was.
Right.
And people were lighting candles.
Exactly.
And like all this stuff is like, wait, you did electricity through the walls. What?
Yeah. This is the devil.
Yeah, right?
The devil's work.
Everything has been, every
all
technological
gonna die.
advancement was the devil in its early stages. And this is no different, you know? But I feel like, man, this is
still a little spooky and creepy.
It is.
But
it is. Because it's, you know, to me, I feel like it's two sides of the same coin. It's access to all this knowledge. And at the same time, it's, oh yeah, we should have access to all this knowledge. This is all.
Why shouldn't we, right?
Yeah, none of this stuff should be locked up in a.
You're right.
Academia or in a,
You're
you know
right.
what I mean?
You're right.
So yeah, it's
so what do you think that means for the world of education, right? Like, especially.
I hope it upends education completely. I hope it returns education to what education was when the universities were in Egypt. It's like, you want to really learn something and not just to be a functional cog in a wheel. That's the type of education I think is valuable for us.
And so that's where you think we're returning to?
Yeah, because you can be so specific and go in such depth with what you want to know about. And learn it in the style and the way that you comprehend
keeps
it.
you motivated and interested in what you're seeking the knowledge of. Yeah.
Like, you can make Dave Chappelle your professor.
That's hilarious. I never even fathomed doing something like that.
With
never
anything.
even fathomed.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's gonna upend everything and for the better. I drink the Kool-Aid of.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But where does that go? Look, I don't know if I'm going off script.
No.
But where does that go in terms of the job market?
Fuck the job market.
How do you survive?
The way we survived all up until now. We're not supposed to be working at Amazon. We're supposed to be creating. We're supposed to be doing far more than functioning for commerce. Like, the job market is not what serves us. It's a means to an end for us, but it's not serving us.
Don't we need that means to an end right now, and where we are in this stage of our grand world? My point of view is, we're so used to livelihood as a response to, or as a result of, the industrial age. Yeah.
Where everybody became a worker bee. And so it upends the economy, where like certain things cost so much because so few people know how to do it. And it's not because those things are so valuable. It's just so few people know how to make
you have this skill,
so
right?
People,
you can capitalize off this skill because not everybody can do the same thing.
Right.
Not the same way.
Right. And like, there's so much, man, listen, I live in Newark, New Jersey in 2024. I literally walk past money in the street every day. Like, there's money out here. We're not in a place where like we need the job market so that people can survive. That is the story we're told. That is not the truth as far as I'm concerned. we're just not, we don't have the latitude to actually explore our own individual strengths and skills and curiosities and interests and superpowers. Like there's things like you do work that like requires a Shanell Dunns.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? You can't just cookie cutter copy and paste put somebody else in what you do.
Agreed.
The vast majority of people, you can't replace them like that. As far as the job market is concerned.
So you feel like now with AI, it has increased access to
Information.
Yeah, that most often we wouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
Therefore, creating your own world of whatever
Whatever
you want to do.
Interest or pursuit or offering. Yeah. Like it's the same with the internet. It's like, oh, yes, stores help us all live and provide for ourselves. And we can go to X store and buy a thing. The internet comes along and it's like, oh, I can be the store. Maybe I'm a better storekeeper than the store I shop at.
Right.
And now I get to be the store.
Right online.
So I think it's like that more so.
So my grandson says to me today, my 13-year-old grandson, he says that he had gotten into a little tiff with his mother. So he called me yesterday, actually, texted me yesterday, asked me if he could come live with me. Right? Red flag. What's going on?
Right.
Matter of fact, I'll be back tomorrow. It takes me going to pick them up from school. Like, what happened? What's going on? Well, I'm starting this e-commerce business. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So this 13-year-old has mapped out this resale on the internet without any help from any adults.
Right.
And that's what caused the rift between he and his mother. Like, who are these people you're talking to? How are you doing these things?
Yeah.
He's created this online business for himself just using the internet. And I'm like, one hand, like, pumping my fist. On the other hand, it's like, but how safe is that?
This morning, a lot of stuff. I had a great morning this morning. So
I'm happy to hear that.
So I'm on like WhatsApp talking to this tailor in China about like suits and whatnot. And I'm like, you know, they for like weeks now, they would like send me photos and videos of their stuff. And I'm like, all right, listen, I got two concerns. One, the measuring and cutting process of this. So how am I supposed to give you accurate measurements that you can cut material for me for a bespoke suit? And I got to make sure I measure it right so that you cut it on the other side of the globe and then ship it to me.
Right.
And two, how do I know that I'm going to get my suit?
Well, that's very real.
Right? From the other side of the globe.
And it's not going to be made out of crepe paper.
Right.
You know
what I mean?
when it gets to
like,
me.
Have a Temu tag on it,
right?
But like, those are genuine concerns. Like, how safe is this?
Right. How safe is it?
You know what I mean? And the reality is, it's safe for 2024. I'm so used to 2009.
Change.
I'm still, in a lot of ways, living in 2009. And I'm like, I don't get it. How is this going to be all right? And like, you ain't talking about $20. And I wouldn't be all right with blowing $20 on some internet e-commerce. But the reality is, I'm not their first, if this is a legitimate business, which there are ways to find out also if it's a legitimate business, but I'm not the first customer. Like, I'm not the guinea pig in this thing. This has already been happening constantly. I'm just tapping into.
That doesn't mean it's not a scam.
It doesn't mean
because
it's not a scam.
It's already been happening. You could be dummy 499,000.
Absolutely
You
true.
know,
but it being unfamiliar doesn't make it a scam.
it doesn't make it a scam.
And my fear is making me cynical, where I'm like, yo, this can't be right.
Right.
Because it's too disconnected. And it's like, no, it can be. I'm not saying it is.
Right. Because the ultimate fear was what? Like, and let's just say
You're
in
either
terms
gonna
of
fuck up my
dollar,
suit or you're
like
gonna rob
losing
me.
your money.
Yeah.
Right. And so one thing I'm learning, like, but that's a struggle mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. That's
Scarcity
a struggle.
and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Right. And we create those things. We are always looking for the problem, right, in something, and then trying to forecast how we're going to fix that problem if this happens. Like,
Right.
it ain't even happened yet.
Right.
And First of all, who said I want to make your suit for you?
Exactly.
Like, you already called me a scammer, and I don't even want to make your suit, dude.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very much that. It's like that unfamiliarity.
Yeah.
It turns the fear into the story. And
Yeah.
that's the story. And we're just writing that one story.
Yeah.
And it's like, it ain't necessarily that. So like with, like Nina's All Naturals. I'm selling a product on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm aware that like people can go to this website and be like, this is a scam.
Mm-hmm.
How really, like, it's the same thing. And I know I'm on the production side of this and that it's not a scam.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's the same whether it's me selling it online to somebody who lives a city away or lives on the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like, if I was selling something online and it was a scam and somebody a block over bought it, they can't find where I'm at.
Right.
Any more than I can find where these people are in China.
Right. You gonna get that P.O. box?
Yeah.
You're gonna right.
So it's like it's like yes, it's exactly what you said. It's like it's that scarcity that tell me the word you used.
Struggle mindset.
Struggle mindset.
Yeah.
It's the struggle mindset.
The struggle that is always going to be right.
Yeah, it's a mountain.
Right. And how do I fix it? It's going to be fixed before there is even a problem, right? That's that struggle mindset.
Yeah. It's always those notifications that are like somebody sending a joke in a group text or something. It's like, not right now.
How you say not right now? It's always time for a good group chat going on.
All right, so remove work.
Mm-hmm.
What are you good at?
Work. Work.
I'll wait.
You're gonna wait a long time.
You are good at other things.
And that's my work. I'm good at solving problems and connecting people. That's what I'm good at. That's what I'm good at. Putting things in order. Right? And so that is my work. I do the thing that I'm good at doing.
I agree. And I agree that you're good at this at work and not at work. It's not just a work thing for you. What else?
That's it.
No.
I don't really have hobbies because I've always been in survival mode.
Okay.
So I never, as a kid.
Extracurricular.
Yeah, I did some of those things, but still, that was part of how I survived, right? I was always in survival mode. And so I never really some people sew, some people blah, 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 some people blah, blah, blah. I don't do any of those things.
You're stylish. You're personal stylist.
But it's not a hobby of mine to let me pick out these things.
You don't gotta
let me blah, blah, blah.
You just be good at it.
I'm going to put that on.
Yeah.
Again, my son told me I looked like a superhero one day. His twin the very next day told me I looked like a clown. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
Fuck these kids. And I kept it moving.
Right.
So it's not intentional for me to that's my thing. I got to shock people by the clothes I wear. I got to do. It's not. It's just however I feel. Those are the things I throw on.
But you're good at it.
But I'm pretty good at it. Yeah.
You're good at using fashion as a personal expression.
Right.
Like you're not just here for the utility.
And it's for me, I think the message in that is Like, I don't need a $5,000 pair of red bottoms. I don't need the designer blah, 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 blah. I don't need... Now, I like quality pieces.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I've ever worn that has been a designer whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my way of bucking the system.
Okay.
Like, no, I'm fly too.
Yeah.
In my $150 outfit as opposed to your $5,000 outfit.
Right.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So maybe that's my little thing. But no, I never really had hobbies. Of course, there are always things growing up that you like to do. Like, you like to hang out with your friends. You like to... I used to coach double dutch for years, right? Like, I enjoy doing that. But I was always in survival mode. And I had kids young, too. So I'm somebody's mom.
Yeah.
You know, I'm somebody's wife.
Yeah.
I'm somebody's this and that. I never really had my own identity until my divorce. And then that's when I learned, not even coming towards the end of that relationship. Like, I remember I used to just be in the bathroom sometimes sobbing because I would go to the kids' school and they would be like, oh, that's whatever kid out of the 5, such and such mommy.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's such and such wife.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's the lady that does blah, blah, blah. And does... I'm like, no, I'm just fucking Shanell, yo. Like, I'm Shanell.
Right.
And somewhere in the midst of all of that, I lost my whole identity of self. So coming out of that relationship, it was really like, okay, you got to really find yourself now, Shanell. Like, the kids are older. Now you can pour some time into you.
Yeah.
And so in terms of, like, not real hobbies, but the things that gave me joy was to help other people.
Yeah. I remember being when I had the realization after my daughter was born. Well, I was married. I was married for 5 years before she was born, and then the next year her brother was born. My son was born, and I had this realization that, like, marriage as a construct, as a dynamic, showed me things about myself that I wasn't aware of because I didn't have any relativity, like as a single young person. And then parenthood showed me things about myself that I wasn't aware of before, right? Like, marriage showed me how selfish I was, because, like, why wouldn't I be? You know what I mean? And parenthood taught me how tough I was not that I thought I was. Like, I thought I had a measure on tough, and then I had children.
So they will take you out.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is the major leagues.
Oh,
now.
you think you were the winner? I'm gonna show you who the winner is tonight,
right,
bruh.
Right. So, what did you learn about yourself? What did marriage teach you about yourself? And second part, what did divorce teach you about yourself?
So marriage taught me that, one, that I never had a good image of what a healthy marriage or relationship period was, that I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I thought I knew what I was doing. So I thought, you know, you look at the old movies or whatever, and you see, this is what a wife is supposed to do. Not with my mama, my aunties, none of them, my uncles, none of them. This is how a wife is supposed to behave, because look at them, they're so happy on TV.
Right.
But then you just lose yourself completely.
Yeah.
And quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was married for about 17 years, right? So think about a long time, me just being the servant. Yeah. Like, I'm just here to serve you, sir. Right? But the first time when I felt like I had to wear the pants, I think I lost respect for him, which shouldn't have been. It's what couples are supposed to do. Now you got to pick up the ball and run with it.
Right.
But I found myself picking up that ball and carrying it for years. So I lost respect for him. So, you know, we both fucked up that relationship royally because we didn't know we just didn't know what we were doing. Right. And so the divorce, I think I was more intentional about just taking care of myself. yes, I wanted to be a good mother. I needed to, because, I had a horrible divorce, right? So
Yep.
I'm left with these babies that
Yep.
I got to figure it out. I got to take care of these kids on my
Mm-hmm.
own. I can't rely on motherfuckers to do what
Right.
motherfuckers supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, I want to do that, but I'm going to be intentional about
Mm-hmm.
taking care of me, finding me, who I am, doing the things that make me happy.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck what other people are saying? I used
Yeah.
to be so hell bent on what are people going to think, and I think that's probably why I got married anyway, because I had already had 3 children, and I'm
Gotcha.
like, what are people going to think? I got
Yeah.
these 3 kids. I don't have a husband. Blah 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 blah
Right.
blah blah blah.
Right.
This is how it's supposed to be, and that nearly freaking destroyed me
Yep.
because who says that's how it's supposed to be?
Right.
Right.
Right. For you.
For me at that
Specifically.
time, maybe it just wasn't the time. I'm not saying
Right.
it was right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't the time. And again, I had children very young, and I thought that was the way it was supposed to be. Now you got to get a husband. You got to lock it down. No, you
Yep.
got to be the slave, and so to speak,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
such a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in my marriage, I was working, had all these effing kids, right? He decided that he wanted to go to school for something. So he was building computers or something. I can't. So he's literally home all day long. So I had to get off my job,
Yeah.
do whatever with the kids.
Yeah.
They had full schedules, come home and cook. And then he would go to this class at night, and I would cook dinner. And I just thought about this the other day, like, how stupid were you? I would put his food in the microwave and set the timer, so all he had to do was press the button when he came in the house. Everything is, and I'm like, girl, you was doing the motherfucking most
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
And why?
Right. Right. Yeah, man. It's so crazy how. So when I was married for 9 years, and as I'm getting divorced, I'm thinking about, like, wait a minute, I've never really stopped and looked at my parents' relationship or talked to my parents about their relationship and marriage.
But who are you talking to?
Nobody.
No one.
Nobody.
Not your boys or whoever. Like,
No.
dang, he in a good marriage. Like,
No. And I got married young. I got married when I was 21. I was 21.
yeah, that's
right?
young too.
So I didn't have a lot of peers who were married and I didn't have a lot of colleagues and comrades that were married any longer than I was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
So
I mean?
you're all trying to figure this shit out together.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I realized how ill-equipped I was in terms of, like, perspective on marriage, and like you know, like you said, like watching TV and movies and whatnot. You know, these things are snapshots. Like if they talk about, I remember the Cosby Show had this, like, Claire was talking about, like, marriage and how it's 50-50 give and take, and it's like you can't sum up what marriage is in a sentence.
No.
You can't sum it up in a episode.
No.
You can't sum it up in a season. You can't, like, marriage.
We didn't know that though.
At
It was
all.
like, that's how it is. That's
Right.
what I want. I
Right.
want that.
Yeah, like I took the package as, like, oh, that's it. All right, so just got to do that. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, but there's no context in that. There is no.
There's no,
You know what I mean?
there's no context. So how do you feel like that either helped or hurt your relationship?
How?
Just that whole idea of this is what I know it's supposed to be. This is what I'm gonna do.
I would say that I wasn't cynical about marriage and about my role or responsibility in marriage
As a husband.
husband. I was ignorant, though. Like I was completely
Probably both of you.
uneducated and ignorant.
Yeah, and you were young.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I would say it helped in that, like, even if the target was non-fictional, I had a target. I was trying to be something specific in the marriage, right? And failed at it, or
I wouldn't say, yeah.
Yeah. Or it turned out that target was a mirage.
Right.
Right. So I'm not going to hit that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, dang, this is not what I signed up for.
At all. At all.
Hold up. Let me go back to episode 22 of the Cosby's because I'm pretty certain Claire said this is going to be okay.
And like you realize that like, oh man, you never really see, at that time at least, depictions of real vulnerability between a couple.
No. Like, definitely not in my house, you know, not in my family. And then not so much. It depends on the movies you were watching. Like a lot of whitewashed movies, you would see glimpse of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But in like, you know, in the blackness of it all, you always had to be strong. You always had to be dominant. You always had to be, it was
we ain't
different.
Got time for all that.
We ain't got time for being vulnerable and transparent and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now you got to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to get through. We ain't got.
Yeah. Suck that up, chick. we got shit to do.
You know what I mean?
You know?
And then and I also realized at the time, like, neither did my ex-wife. Because we would have had conversations about this if either one of us had some in-depth understanding of the examples that we were trying to follow.
The two of you were probably just too busy trying to be right.
Yeah, trying to be right and convinced
you're
that we already are. Yeah,
yes.
like...
No, you're wrong, I'm right. No, you're right and I'm wrong. No, like, too busy trying to be right.
Right. And
instead of just admitting, like, neither one of us know what the fuck we're doing.
Or like, and we're so convinced that what we know is all we need to know. And not like, no, this is, what we have in this marriage is what we would today call safe space to explore.
Yeah.
Who am I? Who are you? Who are we? Who do we want to become? What help do we need to become that? Like, this
and do we want to do this together? We might not even want to do this together as one unit. We might want to do it as friends. Yes. You know?
But I grew up in a way that, like, I was Jehovah's Witness growing up. That was not an option.
Nope. Sure wasn't.
Nah. You gotta completely crash and burn.
You gotta commit, honey. Yeah. You gotta see that through. Yeah. The fire.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, as life progresses and, you know, as I matured, I learned more things about myself, and I did develop an appreciation for that latitude of, like, we can always decide, do we want to do this or nah? And we are right in either decision. You know what I mean? So, like,
but you have to say the thing, though. You have to say it.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to say. It's really, really hard to say that I don't want what I wanted for years. You know what I mean? Like, people don't leave their jobs. People don't leave their neighborhoods, let alone, like,
Which is crazy to me.
The relationship that they are most anchored into. You know what I mean?
But then it just festers into resentment and, you know, all those other things that if you would have just said the thing 5 years ago, you know, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. But, like, we break hearts by avoiding breaking hearts.
Which only breaks your own heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, man, if you'd have just started a conversation about like what you're thinking about 5 years later, you
You
wouldn't
don't
have
want to hurt
just
nobody's feelings, but
burned the
you're
whole building
dying
down with,
inside.
yeah. But c'est la vie, such
It
is
is what
life.
it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And we're still here, so we still get to apply these lessons to tomorrow and to ourselves.
Hopefully,
You know what I mean?
right?
Or even just this, even have a conversation about it, even if it's not with that person.
Right.
It's like now I'm in a place where I can have the conversation.
And you know better. Like, you see the thing. Like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Let's have this
Yeah.
conversation now.
Yeah.
It's not 50-50.
Right.
Whatever you're giving me, I need you to give me 100%
Yeah.
of that.
Yep.
Not 50% of,
Yeah.
no.
Don't meet
Bring-
my 50 because
Nah.
Nah.
I need all 100%.
Yeah.
I don't care if that's for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I'm going to need all 100% in
Yeah.
those 3 hours.
And your 100% today might be 30% of yesterday's 100.
Exactly.
It don't got to be the same 100.
Exactly. You're giving it all to me.
Yeah, but just give it up. Give it up. Because we locked into this thing and we are fighting for each other.
If we are.
Right?
Like, if we are.
Yeah.
I like that.
Question. What's your relationship with ambition?
Love, hate.
Tell me about that.
I am the most simplistic person you probably could ever know.
Okay.
You know, all this hustle and bustle of ambition and drive and make all these goals and I gotta meet my targets and blah, blah, blah. That stuff gives me a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Am I ambitious? Yeah. Do I want to do some great shit for great people and
Yeah.
do all these things? Absolutely. But I don't want to kill myself
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah.
right? And I've seen the flip side of ambition in some of these people. Like, what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
Because you're so ambitious.
Yeah.
How long do you think you can use that excuse? Oh, I sold my mother for $2 because I'm ambitious.
Right.
I needed to step on her. So my
Right.
relationship with ambition is love hate. Like, do you, boo? But don't judge me because I don't have a bunch of initials behind my name.
Yeah.
That's not where I'm at.
Yeah.
Right? But look at the impact that I've had with this, and that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I have a love-hate relationship with ambition.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, my perspective and view of ambition has changed, and my relationship, by extension, has changed. I feel like young energy is where ambition is best honed. Like, you should run as fast as you can when you're young. Because as you get older,
Right? I agree.
you will not have the same impetus to run.
Right.
It's like not running just for the fun of it.
Why?
Not as much as I did when I was a kid, right? I'm also not running, I'm not chasing things, and I'm not running from things. So running is a very different thing now. You know what I mean? And as far as ambition goes, it's the same. It's like, and I know how to run. It's a different thing between
Smarter, not harder.
Yeah. It's just way different. Way different. So like with ambition, it's like my ambition shows up in a lot of small ways for me in my day-to-day.
Simple things.
Fullness of a moment, as opposed to like
Simple things.
the grandness of a moment.
Simple
like
things.
It can be small and full, and that's what I want to
Agreed.
put my energy into. You know what I mean? Like I said, like the way I'm reading this book, that's the type of energy I would have put into trying to read a dozen books over the summer. It's like, no, I want to go deep now. I don't want to.
I want to read this book that's going to take me 6 months.
Yeah.
But I know the ins and outs, and guess what? I've absorbed it,
Yeah.
and I'm living it,
And I live it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's transformed for sure, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for ambition. I'm grateful for the ambition that I had when I was young and wild and willing to run. And I'm also grateful for the version of it, the iteration that I have now, where it's like, it's a tool, but I know how to use that tool now.
It's not the tool.
It's not the tool.
Yeah.
And it's not a hammer. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it all depends on how you use it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a tool,
Right.
but like with anything else, how are you using that tool?
Yeah.
Right? And so are you being intentional, or are you just running the rat race because everybody else is running on that hamster wheel?
Right.
Like, gotta get ahead of you.
Gotta chase these trinkets.
I gotta get ahead of you.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Really don't.
No, I don't.
Really don't.
I'm gonna get to my goal, and I'm gonna get my win when it's time for me to get to my goal, and when it's time for me to get that win.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get there earnestly. Yeah.
With integrity.
With integrity.
Authenticity.
Yes.
And joy.
Yeah. All right, Shanell. Get me praise dancing in here. So that brings you to another point. Right? Present day, I am fascinated by and exploring two kind of tenets or ideologies. One is radical optimism, and the other is joyful discipline.
Yes.
Right?
We both go praise dance. Say it again for the listeners.
Radical optimism and joyful discipline.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
The radical optimism part is like I said before, I genuinely believe that things are going to work out even if it doesn't work out for me in this.
Yes, right?
Like,
I think I posted something like that one day. It's like, the people you pray for that's winning is your miracle too.
Yeah.
Like, you're asking God for blessings and wonders and miracles.
Right.
And then these good things are happening to all these people you love and are praying for. Sis, that's your win.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your win. Be happy. Be
Absolutely.
joyful
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah. It's like we all got farms and it rains. I don't need it to only rain on my farm. Because I don't grow everything. I need that farm to get some rain too.
Right.
And that farm and that farm and that farm. That way I can exchange and contribute and they can exchange it and then we all win.
Why don't people get that though?
There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation about.
I think it's because misinformation. I think it's just selfishness sometimes.
But we're basing it on something. Like we're basing our selfishness on misinformation.
Okay.
Like somebody taught us, somebody sold us an idea somewhere or a personal experience got us to see things a certain way and it's not true. And this innate need to make sure we survive gets perverted into selfishness and like
self-preservation.
Yeah. It's like, nah, I'm only concerned with my survival.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, it really works out better if we're all interested in each other's survival.
Yeah.
Because the interest in my own survival is not going to die. It's not going to go away.
Right.
But it will be better for me and you if I'm also interested in yours.
Right.
It's better for me and you if you're interested in mine. And there's an awful lot of propaganda that pits us not necessarily against each other, but not for each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In your silo, just in your own. I'm only concerned about me.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad for you, but that's not my business.
Right.
Right. So I'm not against you. I'm just like.
Yeah, but I'm busy over here.
Yeah.
Locking my doors.
Yeah.
And stocking my shelves.
Feed my dog. Make sure if you get through that first lock.
Yeah. Word. Making sure my dog is just hungry enough.
I got something for that ass. You best believe.
Yeah. So the other is joyful discipline. Joyful discipline is ridiculously rewarding.
I'm so interested in this. Like, seriously, like, say more about the joyful discipline, because that's the life I'm manifesting for myself.
Yeah.
Just joy.
Yeah.
Just joy. And not saying void of issues.
Right.
To find the thing even within those issues that I can have gratitude for,
Yep.
that I can say, well, at least blah blah blah,
Yep.
like, and still feel that joy
Yeah.
within.
Yeah.
Right. So say more about that.
So there's a couple of things about joyful discipline. One is, I'll start with, I maintain two definitions for enjoyment, or to enjoy. One is to derive delight and pleasure and joy from the experience. Mm-hmm. The second is to apply delight and joy and pleasure to the experience. So decide, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to apply joy to this workout, to this shower, to cooking this meal, to, whatever, right? I can decide I'm going to do this with joy on it, right? And you can do that with anything. You can do it with anything.
I agree.
Right?
You just have to have the mindset.
We are. We can make ourselves see anything however we decide to see it. Right? And the proof of that is in our limiting beliefs.
Nigga, you
That's
are
the proof.
saying all the things.
Yo, I had this thought the other day. I was like, you know how good I am at fighting? I've been whooping my ass my whole life. I'm nice with it.
Knockout.
Yo, what? The way I mollywop myself all my life?
Oh, God.
So, I can decide on a mentality, even if for a moment, right? I can decide to gamify a thing. I can decide I'm going to create a game out of this unpleasant thing. I'm in a gym and I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to see how long I can jump rope, right? But if I decide to do it with pleasure and delight and joy, I will jump longer than if I'm chasing a goal, chasing a record, chasing if I'm making it labor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's where the problem comes in, when you make it labor.
And that's the thing about discipline, is oftentimes we only apply a mentality of labor to discipline.
Yep.
And it's no, you can apply joy to discipline. You can say, all right, I gotta wake up at X o'clock in the morning. How can I make my wake up an enjoyable experience?
Right.
Right. I was telling you before about my friend that I've been taping podcasts and having technical
third time. Right? Yeah.
Donette Green. Shout out to Dr. Donette Green. Had a conversation with her one day, and we were talking about our alarms, right? Like our morning alarms. And she was telling me about hers. Her alarm is Level Up, Sierra. So she knows that when she wakes up, she's got to go to the gym. She gets up really early and goes to the gym really early. And who the fuck wants to do that?
Not me.
Right? But the mentality of it is, you start your day with bettering yourself. So Level Up as an alarm sets her up for all right, this is purpose. This is not I gotta drag myself. This is better is waiting for me to cooperate with it.
Right.
Right. Level up. Right. At the time we were having a conversation, my alarm was a fucking default alarm sound or whatever. But in the morning, I really liked listening to theme songs and orchestral theme songs, like those Steven Spielberg movies and all that shit. Indiana Jones and the Jurassic Parks and all that. They got incredibly epic orchestral theme songs. And my favorite is the Superman theme song, right? The Superman theme song, to me, when I listen to it, the first horns, it sounds to me like the dawn of a new day. It just sounds like that to me, right? And then as the song progresses and more instruments are introduced, it sounds like purpose to me. It becomes more of a marching song, you know what I mean? The drums come in, right? it just feels like purpose. And it's like, man, if I was gonna start my day any way, that's how I want to start every day.
Yeah.
And so, because of her recommendation, I made that song my alarm instead of just the alarm sound. And the idea is like, the discipline is setting an alarm. The joyful discipline is making it your theme song. It's something that makes you want to be awake, and makes you want to be awake and do and be and like and get active. And I'm not getting up to go straight to the gym.
Right.
I'm damn sure not getting up to go straight to the motherfucking gym.
God.
But getting up beats not getting up as
Right.
long as I'm alive.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So like, get up, make my tea, get my book, smoke my weed, do the things that like
Do your things.
set my morning up.
That bring you joy.
Fruit, right? And the next thing I know is like, I've had a great morning.
Yeah, but they bring you joy.
Yeah.
Now let me skip off and do this little 15, 20-minute workout.
Right. And then it's momentum already happening. Like, I'm
Exactly.
rolling now. You know what I mean? So joyful discipline in that regard is like, yeah, there is a way to apply delight to the things you have to do. Or
Yeah.
the things you're obligated to do.
Yeah.
Or the things that you have committed yourself to. And not just fulfill a commitment. You can actually have personal wins. And you can have fun. And you can have delight in the midst of all of that. And be doing the things you need to do. You know what I mean? Because, like, I also need to do these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I need to read these books. And I need to work on these projects. And I need to go to the gym and take good care of myself. And do the fucking dishes.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do these things, too.
Yeah.
But I get to do it with a sense of enjoyment, which
Right.
then gives me a sense of gratitude. Because it's like, I'm grateful that I get to enjoy. I'm grateful that I get to be in a mental space where I enjoy the things that I have to do. That's a treat.
That I can actually feel the joy in it.
Yeah.
Like that I deserve the
Like,
joy.
This is a win for me. It's
Yeah.
like when I was a kid. When I was a kid and too young to do the dishes, doing the dishes felt like, man, I want to be able to do the dishes.
I want to do the dishes. Let me do the dishes.
You know what I mean?
Then when you had to do those damn dishes, why I gotta do it? It ain't even my turn. I ain't even eat here today.
And I might have broke the record for being the youngest person to let them soak. I swear.
He got to soak everything. The spoons still soaking 2 days later, right? Or miraculously, all the spoons and forks and whatever. Did you experience that when your children were young? Like, where the fuck all my forks and spoons gone?
Gone.
Oh, I had to do the dishes. They left.
Yeah. So like there's so there's the applying joy to discipline, the gamifying things as far as joyful discipline is concerned.
I like the
rewards that
gamifying.
come
I
from it.
like that.
Oh, gamifying is clutch.
I like that.
It's clutch.
And it's applicable to a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because it's just your own personal mental mind game.
Yeah.
Mental mind is redundant. But it's your own thing
Right.
going on. Like, it's your own mind game. So, you know, it's like, I think of it like when there is a inside joke that, like, you're the only person in the room that knows this joke. You know what I mean? Don't stop yourself from laughing. It don't matter if you got somebody to laugh with. If your friend that knows the joke isn't there, still laugh. You know what I mean? And like with the mental mind games, it's like, still play the game. Doesn't matter if there's anybody that you playing with, if there's an audience, if there's a scoreboard, none of that matters. Play the game. The enjoyment of the game is worth it in and of itself. Like, that's what all of this is.
I agree. But how easy is that, right?
It's easier the more you do it. It just gets easier and easier to do. It becomes your MO. It becomes your
That's the
operating
optimism.
system. Yeah. It's like, it snowballs. This stuff, everything
the optimism
snowballs.
in you.
You keep doing the thing. Calm down. you keep doing the thing, and it gets easier to do. You know what I mean? All things, it all snowballs.
No, I totally agree. I kind of look at it in a sense of, there are so many people. I'm sorry, my phone is vibrating. So many people that have all these things. Oh, I can't do it because of this. My ADHD or my whatever, my anxiety, my whatever. And I think, like, okay, but the more you do the opposite thing, like, that then becomes your habit. That then becomes your feeling. That then becomes your go-to, as opposed to, I can't be around in social settings. I mean, I'm a bit of a introvert myself. One would never know, but I do well in social settings. So I'm an ambivert, right? Well, my preference is to be at home with myself, on my couch, doing whatever. I still do well in those social settings, right? And the more I do those things, because of the work that I do, right, like, that becomes my norm.
It's like there's the energy that you get from social interaction. From regenerative social interaction. Like, that's one thing that I really took away from the pandemic, COVID pandemic, was like, I don't have the opportunity to just be at a happy hour because. I'm not autopiloting my social life anymore. That got interrupted. And I realized, like, I don't really want to be there. I want to have regenerative social experiences in the right, but I don't want to just go to the watering hole. I don't want to just go to the water cooler and whatever happens there, that's what my social life is. And also, especially lately, leaving the social thing to go home is a favorite thing of mine right now.
Like, where'd Tehsuan go? Oh, he left about half hour back. Just bounce. Just
smooth out the door.
It for me.
And it's like I really
that's terrible.
I really have leaned into this thing where, like, I'm out somewhere and it's like not a thing that, like, I need to do anything or contribute anything specifically. I'm just out at the party, at the dinner, at the gala, whatever the thing is. When the feeling hits me,
it's just real random.
That home feels like a good idea.
I'm out mid-dance, like
immediately.
Well, I'm done.
Walk off the floor and keep on walking. Yeah, because it's like, why does my body feel that? Why does that
homing
even
device
land on me?
implanted?
Yeah. It must mean I've gotten all I need to get out of this. I'm full on this. It's still enjoyable. It's like food. It's like, you have a plate of food that's good. It's like, yeah, I'm full. But the taste of it, I was like, all right, but I'm full.
Right.
I can stop eating right now. It's not better.
Yeah,
for me to just keep eating. When the same thing with, like, the social, it's like, I don't need to be here a second longer.
Wow.
Walk out right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought of that way. Because most often it's like, you got to do the thing. And then there's the thing after the thing, which you got to commit to, because God forbid you miss something at the thing after the thing too. Even though you got to get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning and do that other thing, you just can't miss out. That's good.
Yeah. That was for a time. This is not that time anymore.
But do you think that comes with maturity, like age and maturity, or do you think it's just like you're doing the work on yourself, where now you're in this space where
I think it's a cocktail.
I'm more self-aware.
Yeah, I think it's a cocktail of a number of things. I think it's maturity. I think it's doing the self-work and self-exploration. I think it's aging and just being over it and not believing that the value lives outside of me. It's not in who's there and how many of them are there.
I'm not, so shit ain't going right anyway because I ain't there. Nah, they ain't having fun.
But like, I'm aware that like, no, wait, I bring a thing to the party. Like, I'm
Agreed.
not just at the party to receive the party.
Agreed.
I'm bringing the party to the party.
That's me.
Oh, okay. So like,
My kid.
so there's also that, and then there's like, in the mental mind game, I'm gonna just keep saying that, and the gamifying and all the thing, and even like the, you know, making meaning out of things. It's like, if I have this feeling, I don't know that me ignoring this feeling and staying out for 10 more minutes is not going to be the reason why I get hit by a drunk driver tonight. What if that's the signal for me to get the fuck out?
Save
Because-
yourself.
Yeah. What if it is that? Right? And I'll have no way of knowing whether it is or isn't, but that's enough of a...
Listen to your intuition.
Yeah, the intuition of it.
Listen
It's
to
like,
your intuition.
all right. And I think, like, you know, also it goes back to the snowballing and how things get easier. It's like, maybe this is how I strengthen my intuition, by fucking listening to it. You know what I mean? And acting on it in the immediate. And then my intuition gets stronger. And it gets more resonant, and it gets clearer, and it gets louder, and I'm better at following suit. You know, like my favorite definition of discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. And it's like, so maybe in that regard, as far as having the discipline to hone my intuition, it's like, the more I follow the commands, the better I'll be at following the commands. You know? So yeah, it's like, it's a number of those things that I feel like are making up how I'm evolving to this style and approach to my social life. It's like, some of it is maturing.
Yeah.
Some of it is me being more tapped into me and what my resonant tone is. And some of it is just aging and being overall this, trying to find the party and don't want to go home till the party's over. Right? Like, when is that ever really, you know what I mean?
Man standing.
Yeah, like, when has the last 10 minutes of the party ever been the best time of the party?
That part.
You know, like, what am I chasing here?
That's good. Good view.
It's working. It's working.
That's a good view.
I keep making it home.
Never even thought about that perspective of it at
Yeah.
all. But I enjoy it. I might have to apply some of that, because I'm one of those ones. If I'm there, you know, because I'm very selective.
Yeah.
And like, people think, oh, Shanell, you're everywhere. You're at every...
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Though there's 5,000 more events that I've said no
Right.
to.
Right.
You know,
Right.
these are the ones that, I've committed to being here, then I'm going to see it through.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the last man standing in
Yeah.
most cases. And that shit is exhausting.
Very. Very. And it's like, it doesn't serve anybody. It's only serving this
doesn't
mental
serve
game
anyone.
that you're already playing.
You're absolutely right.
That's all.
Thank you for that.
You know what I mean?
You have
You're
given me
most
new
welcome.
perspective.
You are most
And I'll
welcome.
be like, nah, where should I go home?
Yeah. Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Go home now.
No,
'Cause
there's
it's-
going to be no Swahili after this. There's
No.
going to be no home.
No, home. Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Because, like, home is also a good place to be.
I love being home.
Right?
I'm one of those people, and I totally mishandled pandemic 2020 with the
Okay.
twins because they were still in the house. Because I was one of those people like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got to do this for a year.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
Like, literally, I think for 6 months, I didn't even go on my porch.
Really?
Yeah. I was totally fine. And the twins used to be like, this is not healthy. You are crazy. And I'm like, if you leave this house, don't come back. Because and some of it was fear. Like, I'm at a big age, 50s, you know? I'm like, you're going to bring something back that you can shake off. I might not be so lucky, right?
Right.
And so that time during 2020 when we were sheltering in place, I was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, it's funny. I have some friends that, like, in the early days of the pandemic, they were just completely anti. Like, no, you ain't going to make me stay home. I'm going out to hang out, da da da. And it was like, all right, well, it's a bit, I don't know what the fuck I would have called it.
Reckless.
But it's like, yeah, it's like, but,
Reckless.
and like, whatever.
And you don't like being home. But on the flip side of that, you know, there were reasons why people couldn't be in their house. You know,
Yeah, for sure. But it wasn't
right?
because I want to hang out with my friends.
It wasn't because I just want to
Like,
hang
that's
out
not a
with my
reason
friends.
why you can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, some of those people also turned into, they, you know, flipped to the other end of the spectrum where it was like, they became the vaccine police.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, hang on a second. You were the problem that you're fighting against right now.
Pick a motherfucking
yeah,
side.
pick a side, right? It's like whatever, you know, and that's what extremities do. It like it, you know, it pushes us to all sides. But it's like, man, like as far as this social thing is concerned, I really got to appreciate my own like singularity.
Yeah.
Like going for runs in the morning.
Yeah.
Or working out by myself. I used to work out in the stairwell of the building because the gym was locked.
Oh,
So
damn.
like they didn't let us work out in the gym anymore. Which like I get it. People are just sweating on the equipment and walking the fuck out. And
Take that.
but it was like, all right, but I want to exercise. So where can I exercise? It's like, all right, well I'm on this landing. And I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna run up and down these stairs, and I'm gonna.
Nothing ever motivates me to exercise. Nothing.
Well, you're blessed, so.
That's nothing. I'm not. I can stand a little calisthenics.
Still blessed.
Mm-hmm. However, I get it. Like there was the need. You know, I remember when I finally would allow the kids. I'm a horrible parent. Dyfus should have come to my house and taken those kids from me, but they were adults, so they were there by choice. I would allow them to go out for like little walks or whatever together, but I would spray them with Lysol before they came in the house. Mm-hmm. Then I would take their clothes, put them in the bag, put them on the back porch. So they got savvy. They'd be like, oh, I'm going to go take my walk. I'm going to take a long walk today. Dummies didn't realize that the Uber was connected to my phone. So these little motherfuckers was going around the corner and catching an Uber to be with their friends or whoever. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, wow. But I had mishandled that for so long. And I'm like, let me just give it to them because this is my way of apologizing. Like, I see you. But I'm going to still spray your ass when you get back with that Lysol. How about that? So if it's worth the inhaling that Lysol,
right.
You go ahead and meet up with whoever.
Have at it, yeah. Last question I want to ask you. Who do you see yourself as in the world? Like, what is it that you believe that you bring to the world? Who are you supposed to be? What do you contribute? That is it's not only the things that you carry with you, but it's also your obligation because only Shanell does it this way.
Well, that's a mindset, right? I'm sure there are 20,000 other people that can do it the same and or better, you know, those things. But no, I honestly believe that I was put on this earth, one, to be a mother, right? To the children. I never wanted children.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, I'm going to graduate high school, join the military, and let them pay for my travel for the rest of my life. Right. 18, here comes baby number one, right? Yeah. So, but that just taught me that I was meant to be somebody's mother. And also, again, like I'm a solutioner. I am here to all the things that I wish I had when I was growing up, the people I needed, the resources I hoped for. Yeah. Like I feel like my superpower in this world is to provide that for other people. Okay. And I'm happy with that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with, you know, being that solutioner and that connector. Sometimes at the detriment of my own family, right? Because sometimes they'll be like, you're out here doing all these things for 5,000 other people. Like, what about you? Like, the difference is it's a resource for other people. It's help for other
Yeah.
people. Sometimes it's just enablement for you.
Yeah.
Like you're just using me as a crutch. You can totally do all these things on your own,
Right.
but I'm not just going to be your crutch.
Right.
So it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But I am happy in the space where, you know, I know how to resolve things.
Right.
I'm savvy in that way.
Yeah.
And that comes from having to survive for a long part of my life.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so when people ask me if there was anything that you could change since you've had this tumultuous childhood, or that what would you change? Nothing.
No.
Nothing. I was supposed to go through everything that I went through and survive it, and to help other people not have to get through it that way.
Shout out to you, man.
Shout out to us all
Shout
that's
out
trying
to
to do
us all.
better and be better and, you know,
True.
give back better.
True. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate you. This was fun.
Yeah, I had
Yay.
a great time.
So did I.
You very much. Yep.
And cut.
Okay.